Hey guys, and welcome. My name's NG Paradox, and we're here with the Total War 3 Kingdoms Spies gameplay reveal. I just checked it out, and I have to admit, when I watched it, I was pretty excited. There's a lot of good things in here. The main thing they talk about, the Spies gameplay, sounds great. It seems like it's been implemented in the way you'd really want it to be in, but I also think there's a lot of little things in here that we should try and check out. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go through the trailer slowly and try and pick out any little bits of information we can to give us an idea of how the game on the campaign map is going to work, because it sounds like the campaign map is getting a lot more, shall we say, features or a bit more immersive feeling, which is exactly what I want from the campaign. The campaign map always feels a bit sometimes. So let's go have a quick look into more detail about what exactly we're getting. Let's begin.
You join me in the midst of my campaign to unwind the tyrant Dong Zhuo's claw-like.
So, obviously, straight away then, we're seeing Cao Cao right here. If we have a quick look around, we can see Nanyang is a small city, 225,000. Okay, and we got also Nanyang here. So it's the same name, but it says Jade Mine. So, obviously, you're going to have the cities, you have little places surrounding it which are useful, similar to other Total War games. Obviously, some Total War games did not have that sort of feature, but kind of reminds me like when you had it in Shogun 2 or something. We got Xinjiang City. So it actually tells you the size of the city as well. So little details like that is kind of things that I'm looking for. So actually just do this, I guess it just means it's a normal size city. And yeah, I guess that's all it means. I guess it will say large city at some point as well. Other than that, summer, 195. Okay, 195 AD. Second Marquis. Okay, nothing else really there.
Grip on China. I'm playing as Cao Cao, the master puppeteer. His failed assassination.
Okay, and straight away then, we're going to be seeing some stuff down here. We can see obviously the characters with him. I think this is Xiao Hao Yuan. I think that's him if I remember correctly from the picture. And this one, I don't recognize, but I think we do see it later, because that was one thing I noticed straight away. And I think this is Cao Ren. Now, Cao Ren, I don't think has a unique portrait. I don't think this is actually a unique portrait, which is really, really sad for me, because Cao Ren is actually one of my favorite characters, actually, from Cao Cao's kind of forces. I feel he's a really good commander and general, and we see him a lot, obviously, when it came to like the southern battles and wars and stuff. So, it would have been really cool to have him maybe being an actual unique picture, portrait, but it looks like he doesn't get one. I don't know why. Maybe there'll be more characters. They'll get new ones in updates. Maybe they'll release them in like 3LC. They'll give some characters unique portraits. That seems like something that easily could be done. Or maybe they'll come with more DLC or something. I don't know. But that was something that slightly disappointed me with that.
Of Dong Zhuo led to a hasty.
Okay, now we get to see an actual thing here. I have to admit, I do like the user interface, just like kind of this way that it's done with the black there, kind of like a shadowy, kind of smoky feeling. I actually really like that. I'm not sure how everyone else feels, but it feels kind of nice, especially with the map being so colorful. The map looks quite colorful, so having that kind of on it actually looks really nice to me, at least. Faction leader, of course, strategic mastermind, legendary commander. It's Cao Cao, you know. Weapons, obviously. We got the armor, mounts. Followers 11, but he hasn't got one then. Accessories. Abilities we have down here. Melee power. Apparently his melee power is not very good, which, you know, okay, I'll give you that. It's Cao Cao. His morale is great, though. Battle statistics. Okay.
Let's look at the current state of the board.
Okay, I'm liking the way the map looks. Like, just from this kind of, this level up here, close in, it looked nice and colorful. Back here, you know, where you can't see things, it still looks really nice. I like the way they've done the kind of the fog of war. In fact, the user interface on the map in general looks really nice there, actually.
In my playthrough.
Okay, getting a bit of a better view here of kind of the political landscape in the rest of China. I can already notice certain characters here we've not heard much about, like that's obviously Zhang Lu, which is a character I don't think we've really heard much about so far when it comes to details they've released. They've not released an image of him or a portrait. Dong Zhuo, of course, up here. I guess he's controlling all of that red color potentially. Probably this area up here. Huang Zhong, obviously, seems to be independent now, which they talk about later. Liu Biao, his vassal's kind of down here. Kong Zhao is there as well. I don't remember seeing him before. Zhang Chao and Zi Rong. Good to see these kind of smaller characters there. Liu Dai as well is there. Wang Lang. Yeah, I like Wang Lang. All these like smaller characters. It's obvious that CA have obviously done their research, which is really good to see. It's nice to know we're going to get even these smaller lords are going to be on the map, as they should be, of course. There's a lot of variety and stuff. You just won't be able to play as them.
The undercover network brings an entirely new paradigm to Total War. The art.
Okay, now this is where I saw it, of course. Okay, you got Cao Cao, Xiao Hao Yuan, and there's Cao Ren. So Cao Ren obviously looks like he has a generic one, I've been told. Apparently it's not a unique one, which is a shame. It says a Chancellor, not a General. Then again, I'm not sure what his age is. I know he's going to be quite young at the start of the game, but I don't think he's going to be that young, you know? But okay, he's starting off like this. We've got Lu Ji, Bao Xin, undeployed characters. Okay, so we've got undercover characters. This is what we're talking about, obviously, today with the spies and stuff. It sounds great so far from what we've seen. But undeployed characters. Does that mean these characters are just, back at base? They're not controlling the army right now. We've got some interesting ones like Shu Yu. So we've got Shu Yu right there. That's a good character. Cao Ang, good to see him there. Xu Huang, of course, a very good character. Zheng Han Li Yu. Okay, those are the ones I like the most there. So it definitely looks like they've, as I said, they've done their research. We've even got some smaller characters there. Ones that maybe aren't well known, have one sentence and stuff are going to be there, it sounds like. So you're going to have a lot of characters you can choose from, and generals you can choose from. Some that are going to have unique portraits and probably a lot of character to them. Others, though, probably looking like they're going to have less unique portraits. But they'll still be useful to you. And I said maybe in the future they'll change that, or mods maybe. Who knows, modders might be able to add unique portraits.
Of subterfuge. Meet Lu Zhe, a high-ranking official in Dong Zhuo's administration. However, Lu Zhe is secretly working for us. We released him from our service, at least that's how it looked to the rest of the world, and sent him out into the global recruitment pool. As a skilled character...
So something you just said there really grabbed my attention. Global recruitment pool. So it does sound like you're going to be able to just, if you need more generals and new counselors, you can just recruit them from a certain place, a pool of, as he says, a recruitment pool. Now, they don't really showed us much of that yet, I don't think, from what I've seen from all the footage they've shown and stuff. But hopefully it will work quite nicely and be able to get, maybe new characters will pop up in it, maybe characters come to age, they pop up in it. I don't know, but it'd be really cool if it's quite dynamic. But yeah, if you let a character go, it sounds like they'll pop up in there and they become a spy. If they join an army, they can then be your spy underneath them, which is pretty cool. I like the fact that it seems like there's no agents. Agents now are basically just your generals. Your generals are basically everyone, which is how it should be. Those characters should be important. And obviously some characters are not good generals. They'll be better as things like, agents or something. So it sounds like maybe they're doing that. Obviously we don't have anything else. We just have kind of spies. But I'm not sure if there's anything else apart from spies. It'd be cool if there was.
He was snapped up by Dong Zhuo and was granted the governorship of Anding Commandery. Officially, he's working for the tyrant, but secretly, he's building up a cover network in order to perform covert actions for us. And there's a lot he can do. If he decides his needs are best served elsewhere, he could join Dong Zhuo for real.
Okay, so he says that if he thinks he's in a better position, maybe actually he learns to love Dong Zhuo and actually he prefers him, because maybe Dong Zhuo is very nice to him. Maybe Dong Zhuo gives him land, gives him treasure, gives him nice things, treats him well. He can actually choose to join him instead. So he might be your spy right now, but he can actually choose to give up his spying job and join Dong Zhuo for real. So that's pretty cool. That sort of thing, the dynamicness of your characters being able to do that, that's exactly the sort of thing we want to see.
Or even take the power lent to him and secede to form a new faction with him at the helm.
Or as I said, or secede to form a new faction with himself at the helm. That's even better. This is what I've been saying. I want to know these characters. I want to make them feel unique and independent. In previous, kind of Total War games like with Rome 2 or, Attila, even kind of in Warhammer, you don't feel much of a connection to these different characters that you have, these generals and stuff. Obviously they win many battles for you and they have lots of skills. You're like, okay, I like this guy. But there's not much character to them. There's not much kind of independentness to them. They just kind of do what you say. Obviously they've always kind of had mechanics like a loyalty system, but I never really felt those loyalty systems were important. They never felt that big of a problem or to deal with. I don't know. It just didn't feel like it was. It felt more like a gaming mechanic than anything. But now again, obviously we don't know how this is going to work. It could still be, maybe they're just using a loyalty system or something. I don't know exactly right now. But if he can actually just make himself independent and secede and make his own faction where he's the leader, That would be really cool. It means when every time you play the game, you can see different lords suddenly rise up out of nowhere and rebel against their old lords, and they'll be a major faction potentially. That sounds really nice.
This can happen for non-spy characters as well. For instance, Huang Zhong, who starts the game as a character serving under Liu Biao, has broken away to form his own faction after becoming dissatisfied. Let's take a look at...
So he just said that Huang Zhong has done that with Liu Biao right now. He's actually just made himself an independent ruler after he became disillusioned with Liu Biao. So again, as I said before, this is exactly what I wanted to see. I was actually hoping it would definitely be something that happens in the game, but the fact they've now confirmed it, that makes me really happy. That's the sort of thing we want to see from a Romance of the Three Kingdoms game. Or just Three Kingdoms, if we don't like the romance, you know.
At how spies work. More slots for spying will open up as I rank up my faction, and if I specialize my playstyle via government reforms. Three Kingdoms take...
I just got to point out, this looks awesome. If you don't like how this tree looks, I mean, you have no soul. Then again, I could see why someone wouldn't like it. It does look a little bit messy because you got kind of like these branches going everywhere. So it does look a little bit messy, but I guess once after you get used to it, it's probably not a big deal. Yeah, I would assume once you get kind of used to it where everything is, you'll probably just find it very easy. But yeah, it does. I guess it could look a bit of a mess. It's like things everywhere's like, where do I begin on this tree? Like, what do I look at first? I guess. But the actual art of it is very nice. I love that. Private tutors. Okay, good to see this there.
Take on the tech tree. I'll complete the dedicated spy network reform and free up another slot for spying. So it's time to turn my attentions to other threats to my power, including some of my allies. After deploying a spy to any of the factions, they will sit in the recruitment pool awaiting employment to lead an army or take a place in the court. In this state, the spies can still garner a more detailed overview of an enemy faction's statistics, but have no agency to otherwise impact the faction.
Okay, so you could just use them to get information about the opposition faction. You don't necessarily have to get them to do anything.
Clever utilization of spies can help me stay 10 steps ahead in my quest to unite China and mitigate the chances of an ally double-crossing me due to an incoming expansionist faction leader who has little sentimentality towards me compared to his predecessor. Don't forget to cast an ever-vigilant eye over your own character pool, because rival factions can and will install their own spies into your recruitment pool. In fact...
See, now, that there sounds awesome. That again, that's the sort of thing we want to see. We want to be able to feel close to these characters, but also we want to feel like these characters have their own, shall we say, path. So, for example, like you have, as he's saying here, he's suspicious of this character here, that maybe he is a spy from Dong Zhuo. That's something you should feel like. You should feel like, okay, do I give that guy promotion or this guy promotion? This guy I'm very close to, but that guy's really good. But then again, that guy's really good, but I'm not sure if I actually trust him. And that's kind of a cool thing. That's something you need, I think, with these characters. You know, like feel like they have their own style, their own independence in that way. I know I'm kind of gushing about all this, guys, and I'm slightly biased because I do love Three Kingdoms era, and I do love the characters from the era, so anything involving characters that kind of gives this a more of immersive feel, I'm gonna love. So this is exactly the sort of reveal that I needed. We have a quick look up here, undeployed characters again. It's the same ones as before. There's a few more. We got Den Fang, Cheng Heng, Gongshu. So he's got a lot of generals. It looks like you can just get a lot of generals. I don't know if you have like a limit. Characters 21. Maybe you have a limit to how many people you can get, depending on how many cities you have or something, or the size of you. That's what I would assume. It would make sense, obviously, if you just have one city, but you can have, like, a ton of generals. It kind of would seem a bit silly, but yeah.
I have my own fair share of concerns over this Dongzhuo alumnus. Spies use two resources that dictate the level of power and risk they have within an enemy faction. The first, undercover network points, are shared between your spies per faction, and represent the support system of allies, safe houses, and resources for your spies. Cover points are individual to each spy and signify the quality of your spy's fake identity. Before we pull the trigger, let's browse the range of choices in the subterfuge toolset that Cao Cao could...
Now, actually, before we move on as well, like I said before, about how the characters hopefully feel a bit more independent, like they feel like unique people in a way, and they have their own wants and people that they like, and they work towards that goal. This obviously depends upon the AI. Like, he says that the AI can send spies to you, so you're not sure if you can trust all of your generals and courtiers, but is it going to work? You know, I got to feel a bit, you know, reluctant here because it sounds great. It sounds perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. But as I said, I'm slightly biased because that's exactly what I wanted to see in this game. This is the sort of thing exactly what I think we need. And it's definitely an improvement from previous Total Wars. But will it work? This is the first time I think they've kind of used something like this. I don't remember a previous thing like this, as good as this, when it comes to spies and stuff. So is the AI going to do it properly? Are they going to properly send out spies? Will the spies themselves, as the AI, work out properly? It's going to be interesting to see if that does work out. I'm going to be pessimistic, and I'm going to say, optimistic, I guess, and hope that it does work, because it sounds like it's great. I'm sure that if it's a new mechanic, you'd think they'd test it a lot to make sure it would work. But you never know these days, you know. But hopefully the sort of thing does work. But that's something to keep in mind. This will be down to whether the AI can do it. And not even that they can just do it, but can they do it competently? That's an important thing as well.
Could opt for. Court Noble actions.
Okay, so Court Noble actions. Build undercover network, accost traders, empower trade, counter spy, improve relations. Okay, that's kind of a nice thing to be able to just do. If you don't want to be an enemy, you can send it to someone you want to be more friends with. Larceny, discredit character, or discredit faction. Infiltrate army, leak marching orders, deny military supplies, falsify marching orders, or poison military provisions. Okay, yeah, kind of the things you sort of expect. They sound pretty useful. Alright, next then you could go open gates. Now, this is great. These administration actions sound pretty cool, because these are the sort of things that did happen during the Three Kingdoms era. You know, traitors would open gates and stuff, or diminish public order, deny garrison supplies, poison garrison provisions, instigate Yellow Turban uprising. Now, that's an interesting one. So I guess any rebellion is just going to be Yellow Turban rebellion. So I guess maybe there's no, like, rebellion mechanic. It's going to be either, like, one of your characters rebels against you and becomes his own faction, or if a rebellion does happen, it's, you know, the people rebel, it will be Yellow Turban uprising, which would be kind of nice. That's kind of a cool way to incorporate the Yellow Turbans a bit more. I like that. Or surrender territory. Liking it. I liking this stuff.
Edge. Looks like a rival politician in the Anding region has made Lu Zhe's escape unlikely. But as I need this land, I'm willing to sacrifice my spy for it. He was caught as he fled Anding, but Dong Zhuo, the merciless warlord, has chosen to spare him. It is possible he was just in a good mood, but there's a very real chance that Dong Zhuo has taken control of Yu Zhe and sent him back as a double agent within my own faction. I will have to treat him with a certain level of suspicion from now on. Granting him too much power could see Dong Zhuo play me at my own subterfuge game, whereas failing to give him the plaudits and responsibilities he deserves after his heroic effort behind enemy lines could also see him leave my faction and rejoin the real friends he made fighting in Dong Zhuo's ranks. These are intricacies of the all-new Guanxi system, another revelation for the Total War formula. Make sure to subscribe for the upcoming video where we'll take a deep dive into the new layers of complexity this adds to your playthroughs.
Yeah, so they do mention they're going to go into the complexities of Guanxi, which is great. I'm really glad they're incorporating, they're making it a big part of the game. It makes complete sense to do that, and I'm glad they're doing that. But a lot of things he talked about then, actually. He said that his spy was captured, can be captured. He tried to flee, so you can try and get your spy to flee, which is great. He can be captured, that's great. Now, Dong Zhuo actually let him go. So that means he can, it sounds like he can kill him. From the sounds of what I've heard before. So you can, if you capture people, you can execute them, you can let them go, or you can try and hire them. And he even said there that maybe he let him go because he was in a good mood. But that does not sound like Dong Zhuo to be honest, but it's the AI, who knows. Or he actually might have got him to go on his side. So maybe he said, okay, I will not kill you if you work for me. You go spy on Cao Cao for me. And that's real cool that that is a potential outcome. I love the idea of that. So now when your spy returns, you're going to be potentially suspicious. You're like, now is he a very good man, a good spy that was captured and he's just been lucky? Or is he actually someone I now can't trust? So I love the fact you're going to be kind of double thinking, you know, taking double takes on the characters and the people underneath your command. This is, this makes me happy about this, makes me excited.
Dong Zhuo's heir and deadly warlord Lu Bu is ready to eliminate the dissidents and return the province to its former owner. Perhaps this region isn't truly the object of Cao Cao's desires. Cao Cao himself is at the heart of my real plan. taking control of...
And we can actually see here there's a lot of strategy involved in the environment. We can see the mountains are impassable from the look there. So that means you can either go this way or that way. So it means there's going to be strategic areas of placing your army or obviously capturing a certain city that could be useful, which is great because that's how it should be actually. There's a lot of strategy about where you deploy your troops and what cities you take, obviously, in the historical events of this war. There are certain areas that were more useful than others because they have more access to certain areas, such as the central areas of like Lubiao allow you to kind of have a good connection to all the areas of China, and obviously, yeah.
But that's not all spies are capable of. If a spy gets adopted into a warlord's family, they'll gain access to the most powerful spy actions in the entire game. These options allow you to destabilize the delicate...
Wow, so yeah, if you get someone really, really close... Now, that should be quite a difficult thing to do. Getting into someone's family, I would assume would be very difficult, because one thing, they'd have to trust them a lot, and number two, obviously, they can't have such a big family. So, I mean, that should be a difficult thing to do, and I hope it is, but if you can do it, the fact you can then go and assassinate them, that's a pretty cool thing. Because, yeah, there were assassinations or assassination attempts at sometimes during the historical period. I mean, Dong Zhuo himself and Lu Bu, yeah, they're involved in that sort of thing, aren't they? So it makes sense. I like that.
Delicately poised political landscape and cause chaos on a global scale. In the case of Dian Wei here, if your spy is the heir and they kill the leader, they take control of that faction. Jumping forward to when my spy has regained their cover, he can attempt to hand over the faction to me. This will trigger a civil war to break out between those loyal to them and those loyal to the old ways.
So this just shows you how important it is to have some close, good men by your side, and make sure you do reward them and make sure they do like you, because if you have them turn against you, obviously, they might not give you what you want, but if they are duly underneath you and they do support you completely, when he does that and he has his own land, he'll actually then forfeit it to you, because that was the plan from the beginning. So real nice little things here. I love it.
You've seen the devious toolkit of the all-new spy system. Drop a comment below and tell us how you'll manipulate others and conquer China using espionage.
In the end, though, that wasn't all, actually. They did release that reveal trailer, but they also did a Q&A on the Reddit forums as well, answering some questions about how spies work and a few other things. And luckily for me, actually, on Reddit, someone did a little summary of the 3K Total War AMA, so we have all the information right here that was really given to us on a silver platter. So just want to give a big shout out there to CK2 Benchmark. Thank you so much, CK2 Benchmark. I do recognize your name, so if you are watching this video, don't worry. I've seen you on Twitter definitely and stuff, so I do recognize your name. Thank you so much for doing this. It's really nice for people who didn't get to the AMA, and for anyone who doesn't want to have to go through, obviously, the whole process of going through the AMA itself and trying to find those little pieces of information so they can get the answers they want. This is really nice. Great job. So if any of you guys have time, just go to Reddit, go check out this. I will leave a link, obviously, in the description. Just say thanks to CK2 Benchmark. Obviously, we have a bit of information here about spies. For example, if captured, the options you have for a spy are to release, execute, forgive, and hire. So you can forgive or release. So, okay, so that's just for capturing in general. I'm guessing that's for capturing in general, not just spies or anyone does a bad thing. Or send back as a double agent. Sounds really nice. A lot of options there for these characters, as it should be. Spies will only be captured if you attempt an action and don't have enough additional resources for the ensuring dilemma. They can't be found out if they don't take any action, which that makes sense, of course. This cost is hidden until you initiate the action, and is increased by reforms and traits that the target faction has. If you find enemy army with a spy of yours in it, the spy will maintain their cover and fight as a regular general. That's obviously that sounds right, yeah? You have to order the spy to defect before the battle on your turn if you want them to do so. Spies won't defect on opponents' turns. Okay. If you defeat an army with your spy in it and capture them, you can either bring them back into your faction without any problems or release them back to the faction with their cover still intact. Characters get a satisfaction penalty for not being in the same faction as their friends, and get a satisfaction bonus for being in a different faction from their rivals. So if you spy, goes undercover, make some friends, and then comes back, you'll have an easier time convincing his friends to defect or revolt. However, this presumably cuts both ways, as your spy is now somewhat dissatisfied that their friends are with the old employer. So there you go. Okay, this is exactly what I want to be seeing here. If you send them away, obviously it is a risk. They could send them back to you, and they could actually be a double agent. They could actually be a spy against you then. Or maybe he's actually made some actual friends in that faction. You know, he's gotten close to some of them. He really likes them. He comes back to you, and he kind of feels dissatisfied. He's like, oh, well, all my friends are off, you know, fighting with Yuan Shao. Why am I here with Cao Cao? Ah, I like that. That's nice. That's, again, just that kind of adding in a little bit of identity to these characters. And obviously, that could change, I guess, every time you play as well. The different friends they make maybe can change every time you play. We don't know exactly how it works. You still have to pay a salary to your spies when they're in another faction. The other factions will also be paying them, though presumably the salary for the position they have in that faction, not yours. So it sounds as though maybe this is how it works, and maybe it's not based upon your size of your faction that you can actually have more characters. Maybe it's just based upon salary. If you can afford to pay more generals, you can have more generals. So maybe there's not much of a limit to how many people you can have apart from money, which obviously then might be connected to how big your faction is, or maybe just how good your cities are. So if maybe you have someone who's got a very well-developed city, you can have more people than someone with another one, just one city. That's something we need a bit more information on, but good to see there's a bit more there. I wouldn't surprise me, though, if they have, like, a restriction on how many characters you can have based upon the size of your faction. Think, like, in other Total War games, they have a limit on how many armies you can make without getting, you know, penalties based upon the size of your faction and stuff. So that wouldn't surprise me. You can manipulate the satisfaction of a character or all characters within a faction, but you can't manipulate the guanxi between characters. So you can't make or break friendships. They can only happen organically. Spy slots increase with faction rank. Emperor brings it up to 8. So you can have up to 8 spies, it sounds like. Reforms and some leader traits. Okay. Any character can be a spy, but only some characters are willing to spy for any given leader, which is based on chance. Okay, so anyone can be a spy, that's lovely, but not all of them will do it for you. AI factions will hire characters based on traits they want and level, so the best spies will be high-level characters with traits the AI needs. Yes, if you send a spy out, it doesn't mean anyone will hire them. You're probably going to send out someone who's actually a pretty capable person. This will let them climb the highest in the AI's faction. There isn't any spying skill that makes them more successful at generic spying. If a faction with active spies is destroyed, the spies can seek a new master while maintaining their cover. Okay. The more spies you have in a faction, the better your spy network resources will get. Okay. If he feels suspicious about a character being a spy, you can banish them. So it's good that we can have a way to get rid of them, but you might make a mistake. What happens if he's not a spy? That's the sort of... I want to be thinking that. I want to be unsure about every character that's underneath me. I want to be unsure if they're a friend or foe, and whether I trust them or not, and have these relationships grow. That's great. Okay. If your spy is in command of an army, a successful military revolt will cause the other generals in the army to disband and return to their faction. They won't come with the defectors. This also means that there's a specific commander of the overall army despite there being multiple officers in it. A spy whose cover has not been blown will not accept being a spy for the faction they are already spying on. Ooh, okay. Interesting. So I guess that's why some characters won't be spies, because number one, they're already a spy, but also they need to make sure you're still unsure, so they need to make some other characters won't be a spy for you as well. Otherwise it'd be too easy maybe to find out who's a spy. Yeah. Okay. And character interactions. Here we go. So this is not spy stuff, but satisfaction can be improved by giving characters higher-ranking officers, titles, which increase their salary, and ancillaries, and by bringing their friends in. Bringing in their rivals decreases it. So, okay, yep, makes complete sense there. No character renaming, as it should be. These are all characters that are actually from the Three Kingdoms or Romance of the Three Kingdoms. If you rename them, that kind of takes that away, I guess. Characters are persistent. And will not vanish from the game unless killed. That's good to know. So if a character finds himself without a faction for a long time, he won't just disappear at any point. He'll stay kind of in the recruitment pool forever, until he dies, of course. However, they can vanish from their recruitment pool and go to another faction's recruitment pool if they don't hire them. So this does sound like, yeah, this isn't just like a generic recruitment pool everyone can kind of just take people from. Each faction will have their own unique recruitment pool, it sounds like, with that. And characters will move from one to the other. So I guess if a character wants to be in a certain faction or is around it, well, I guess we could look at it as they're in that area, they want to join, they'll be there. But if you don't recruit them, they might just then move on to a different recruitment pool to be recruited by a different faction. So if you see a character that's good, you should probably get them as soon as possible. Characters have salaries that are dependent on a few factors, and you still have to pay them even if they're not actively doing something. So buying up everyone in a recruitment pool doesn't come without cost. So there you go, yeah. Cost is going to be important here. You can only have a certain amount of characters because you can only afford a certain amount of characters. The character skill tree is universal, and there isn't a separate skill tree for spies. Spy skills are increased, though, through reforms to your spy administration. Capturing generals seems to have a comeback, and the confirmed options are to attempt to convince them to join you or execute them. Presumably releasing them is an option as well. Nothing has been said if you can just hold onto them or ransom them. Okay, so we don't know if we can ransom people yet. That'd be kind of nice if you could ransom them. That would make sense to me. But trying to convince them to join you is a big aspect of the time period, and of course executing them. Hopefully the AI, this is, for me, is going to be a big thing. Like for the player obviously having these options, you need these options, but this world would feel like a real breathing place if the AI actually uses properly. I played Romance of the Three Kingdoms before, and the AI never executes people. They only execute leaders when they capture them. They just execute them straight away. But other characters, they never usually seem to execute them. I mean, I think they do sometimes, but it feels like never. It feels like, at least. So I know I'm hoping the AI will do this properly and make good decisions on this. That'd be really great and make it really dynamic and different every time you play if certain characters die very early on. If you destroy a faction, all the still alive characters from that faction will go into various recruitment pools. If they like you, they might go to yours. However, if they were satisfied with their faction, which you just destroyed, they'll probably go to your enemies. It makes complete sense. People you make as enemies over the long run of the campaign will go join other people. General, Yuan Shao's captains and the lesser officers of everyone else aren't full-fledged characters and can't spy or be sent to the recruitment pool. However, if they do well in battle, they can be made into fully-fledged characters who can do the same thing as everyone else. Man of the Hour is back. This sounds great. So yeah, so there's certain characters who are lesser officers, or Yuan Shao's captains and whatnot. They can't be sent as spies. They're not technically full-fledged characters. But if they do very well, they can become full-fledged characters. That sounds great. I love that. Having new, unknown characters, maybe ones that aren't from the history or the books, come to life, your own people. That would be great as well. I love that as well. That sounds great. The fact that some aren't full-fledged characters from the beginning, though, sounds odd. Is this like, are there certain characters that just start as not full-fledged characters? And you have to get them to become that? Or are these just, I'm not sure, randomly generated characters? I'm not sure how this works. So that sounds interesting, though. There's no longer head-to-head or co-op multiplayer campaigns. They're now just regular multiplayer campaigns. Sounds good. Alliances can shift you in place, so you're allowed to turn on your friends or ally with your enemies. Now, this would be nice if we can find out whether this is only two-player. If this is only two-player, turning on your friend is not such a big deal, because like, if there's only two of you, it's kind of like, well, okay, we're going to fight each other at some point anyway, we have to. But if this can be like 3, 4, or more players, this would be really nice. I'm really hoping that's what's going to be. It doesn't say anything, but maybe, you never know. We'll cross our fingers. But again, that's maybe being a bit optimistic. They've never done it really before, a campaign like that, but still. A reform can be taken once a year, every spring, and aren't based on a resource, so resource rate isn't a thing anymore. So there we go. A lot of information given today about spies, characters, interactions, and stuff. This is exactly the sort of thing I was hoping we'd see with Total War 3 Kingdoms. And that's why you can hear I'm so happy about this. This is exactly the sort of things I was waiting for them to kind of announce and give us more information upon. Hopefully, this is something that will continue with the more information we get. There's still, though, I will keep this in mind, there's still a lot of the game we don't know about. We don't know how the AI will work with all this stuff. Will it work out? Will they do it properly? And there's still lots of the game we don't have much information on. You know, we want to see more battles, of course, and there's still many parts of the game we don't know how the mechanics completely work, and we don't know how far to the extent these mechanics go. So, still going to keep my, dubious hat on. I really just want to see more of the game as much as possible so we can get an idea if it is going to be great. It is sounding like, though, this could be potentially the best Three Kingdoms game that has been made, if it lives up to the hype and the information we've been given so far. So hopefully, no matter what, it's just going to be a good Three Kingdoms game, even if not everyone agrees it's the best Total War game. But so far, the information with the new mechanics and stuff sounds like real good things for a Total War game that, if implemented in more Total War games in the future, I think everyone would be happy with. So we'll see. We'll see. Tell me in the comment section below, what do you think? Are you excited for Three Kingdoms, or do you find it difficult to get into? I know the character stuff makes it quite difficult, but if you really get invested in it, like I know a lot of people didn't know much about Total War Warhammer, the Warhammer kind of lore and stuff, but a lot of people really got into it because of the game, and they love the lore. I'm hoping people will feel the same way with Three Kingdoms, you know? The same with if Shogun was popular, I don't know why this can't be popular. Three Kingdoms is a very popular era, but just not enough people know about it. But yeah, guys, see you next time. I've been NG Paradox. See you soon.